Hello, dear friends. Welcome to our fun and exciting channel. Let's get started, shall we? Today our story takes us back to the Middle Ages, specifically to ancient Russia. A life filled with violence and bloodshed, where even those closest to him were not spared. This tumultuous existence was the very reason our protagonist earned the title he's known for. So, stay with us, my friends, as we journey back to the 16th century and get acquainted with Ivan the Terrible, or as he's more famously known, Ivan the Formidable. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and share it with your friends. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel to stay updated with our latest content. You can further support the channel on Patreon through the link in the description box, enabling us to continue bringing you exciting and fresh content. Your support makes a significant difference for us. Ivan IV. Ivan was the son of Moscow's Prince Vasily III. He was born on August 25, 1530. The reins of power were handed to him at the tender age of 3, following his father's demise, an unprecedented event for that era. However, his mother, Elena Glinskaya, refused to let her young son fall into the clutches of the advisors. She became his regent and protector, ruling in his name. This era of Ivan's childhood rule didn't last long. When he was just 8 years old, his mother's death, believed by historians to be a poisoning, had a profound impact on the young Ivan's character. Following her demise, a council of nobles took over the governance on behalf of Ivan. However, it didn't take long for Ivan to assert himself and take control of his destiny. The first Tsar of Russia. According to historical records, Ivan assumed the throne at the age of either 14 or 16. In the year 1547, Ivan boldly declared himself the first Tsar of Russia, a statement that served as both a warning and a message to friends and foes alike about his authority and the might of his empire. Ivan was known for his fervent devotion to Orthodox Christianity, a factor that played a pivotal role in shaping his later persona. He believed in a divine right to possess unlimited power, second only. One of Ivan's initial acts as Tsar was the elimination of the members of the Boyar Duma, consolidating absolute power in his hands. In 1553, a significant event unfolded that further fueled the Tsar's ever-growing paranoia and suspicion. A dispute erupted between Ivan and one of his advisors, Prince Andrei Kurbsky. This disagreement led to Kurbsky defecting from Ivan's camp and joining the ranks of the Lithuanians, who were Ivan's adversaries. Kurbsky even played a role in the destruction of the strategically important town of Melody Luki during one of the conflicts between the Lithuanians and the Tsar. This incident deepened Ivan's mistrust of the nobility around him, resulting in numerous brutal massacres of the nobility. His preferred method of torture often involved breaking and shattering his victims' legs before casting them out onto the snow, forcing them to crawl for mercy. This gruesome reign of terror included methods such as burning, beheading, drowning, and more. Ivan the Terrible's reign was marked by brutality and paranoia, leaving a dark and chilling legacy in the annals of history. Ivan and the dream of empire expansion. On the flip side, the dream of expanding his empire never left Ivan's imagination. The Tsar embarked on numerous wars that depleted both human and material resources for his empire. He launched an assault on Kazan, executing and killing every man, woman, and child within its walls. Then, he went on to conquer Astrakhan, the Bashkirs, Siberia, and more. Additionally, the Tsar engaged in a 3-year war with the Ottomans but failed to secure any significant victories. The war eventually ended with a peace treaty between the two parties. In the year 1570, Ivan the Terrible committed a massacre that earned him his infamous title. This massacre was driven solely by suspicion. Following a deadly outbreak of the plague that claimed hundreds of thousands of lives in Russia and widespread famine and poverty due to the plague and futile wars, Ivan grew paranoid that the nobility in the Novgorod region, considered wealthy, were plotting to defect and overthrow his rule. So, what did he do next? Stay with us to uncover this chilling chapter in history together. Ivan the Terrible. Ivan carried out a ruthless raid on the city of Novgorod, plundering and laying it to waste. Over the course of 5 gruesome days, he indiscriminately slaughtered men, women, and children alike. According to the accounts from that era, Ivan the Terrible subjected women and children to an even more horrifying fate. He tied them to sledges and pushed them onto the frozen waters, where they met their watery and icy demise. The final toll of this massacre amounted to a staggering 60,000 victims. If you, my friends, think that a person can be ruthless with their enemies and merciful to their own family, you are mistaken. Because in the case of this Tsar, it was quite the opposite. Ivan the Terrible's personal life. Most historical sources mention Ivan's 8 marriages. His first marriage was to Anastasia Romanova, from whom he had 6 children, 4 of whom tragically died at a young age. The marriage ended after 13 years with Anastasia's death in 1560. Ivan believed that the aristocratic boyars had poisoned his wife, a belief that fueled his brutal crackdown on them. His second wife was Princess Maria Kamerovsky, who also died mysteriously after just 8 years of marriage. Once again, Ivan accused the boyars of poisoning his spouse, triggering another wave of merciless executions. In 1571, Ivan the Terrible married Marfa Sobakina, who fell seriously ill shortly after their wedding, leading to her demise. However, the illness didn't convince Ivan, as his growing paranoia and distrust of the boyars persisted, resulting in yet another massacre. Anna Koltovskaya became his 4th wife, but Ivan banished her to a nunnery in 1574, 2 years into their marriage, as she failed to bear him any children. The same fate awaited his 5th wife, Anna Vasilchikova, for the same reason. In 1576, his 6th wife was a widow named Vasilisa Melentieva, who was sent to a nunnery and imprisoned for very different reasons. She had committed adultery, and her punishment was to witness her lover's execution before being imprisoned herself. Her death, too, remained shrouded in mystery. Tsar Ivan claimed to have been betrayed by his 7th wife, Maria Dolgorukaya, who allegedly committed adultery. This time, Ivan's punishment was severe. He drowned his wife in the river in 1580. His final marriage was to Maria Nagaya, who gave birth to his son Dmitry. However, this marriage ended with Ivan's death in 1584. Following his death, his 8th wife was exiled from the palace, and his son Dmitry met a tragic end at the hands of his enemies in 1591. If you find Ivan the Terrible's personal life astonishing, just wait to hear the story of his son, who shared his father's name. Ivan the Son. Ivan Ivanovich was born in 1554, and he was his father's secret pride. He accompanied his father in all the wars, even witnessing the gruesome Novgorod massacre of 1570, as mentioned earlier, without flinching at the sight of frozen women and children. This quality set him apart from his brother Fyodor, who was rumored to have struggled with mental issues. To further enhance the heroic image of the son in front of his father, Ivan the Son achieved a dramatic feat by saving Ivan the Terrible from certain death. He valiantly intercepted and killed a man who had managed to approach the Tsar, brandishing a sword with the intent to slay him. Of course, the Tsar wanted to ensure the continuation of his lineage, particularly through his valiant son, Ivan. He married him off 3 times between 1571 and 1580. The first 2 wives were exiled to a convent, not because they couldn't bear children, but because they didn't give birth to sons. Then came the 3rd wife, a woman named Paulina Sheremetova. Paulina became pregnant, and the Tsar was thoroughly convinced that the child to come would be a boy. However, the child's fate was sealed, and the reason behind it lay with his grandfather. How did this happen? Stay with us to find out. Ivan the Father and the Son. The saga began with power struggles between the father and his son over the command of the army, especially in the wake of Russian losses. Then came the fateful day of November 15, 1581. It all started when the Tsar saw his son's wife wearing attire he deemed inappropriate, driven by his obsession with authority. He began by striking his pregnant daughter-in-law, who screamed for help. Ivan the son and his wife heard her cries, and he rushed to her rescue, forcefully separating her from his father. Following the brutal assault on the pregnant wife, the unborn child tragically died, further fueling the grief of the son. A fierce altercation erupted between the father and the son, inevitably embroiling politics in the conflict. The ever-suspicious Tsar accused his son of treachery and unleashed a barrage of blows upon Ivan the son's head with a scepter he held in his hand. Those present at the court had to intervene to halt the violence. This dispute resulted in severe injuries to Ivan the son, rendering him unconscious. The Tsar, emerging from his fit of madness, found his son lying on the ground with blood oozing from his head. He knelt beside his injured son, cradling him while desperately trying to stop the bleeding, crying out, "I have killed my son, I have killed my son." In the following days, the Tsar never left the bedside of his comatose son, offering prayers for his recovery until the inevitable occurred. On November 19, 1581, the heir to the throne passed away. The end of Ivan the Terrible. Fate did not grant Tsar Ivan much time. Just 3 years after the death of his son at his own hands, Tsar Ivan the Terrible succumbed to a stroke during a game of chess with one of his close associates on March 28, 1584. With that, the life of one of the bloodiest figures in history came to an end. No one, not even his closest confidants, was safe from his tyranny, not even his own flesh and blood. So, my friends, this is what we have uncovered about the story of Ivan the Terrible. A tale that introduced us to some of the forgotten pages of history. A story that illustrates what the pursuit and love of power can lead to, a trail of tragedies. From doubt cast upon those around him to massacres and atrocities, culminating in the murder of innocents, relatives, siblings, and children, all in fear of losing power, sometimes unwittingly. This obsession and these crimes are not confined to the distant past. We witness them today if we look closely, and we will continue to witness them in the future. This is a history for those who seek the truth, and in it, there is a lesson. My dear friends, what are your thoughts on what you've heard? I eagerly await your opinions and comments on this matter. Stay well and don't forget to like the video, share it, and subscribe to my channel. Also, consider supporting the channel on Patreon, as your support makes a difference and enables us to continue bringing you engaging and new content. Stay tuned for more, coming very soon.